You will learn exactly how I edit this car video start to finish. You will learn my timeline and color management settings, my keyboard shortcuts for fast editing, how I find my music and how I match the clips to the music, my best stabilization techniques, how I color grade, my export settings and my topaz settings for the best and crispiest possible result. And if you want to edit along with me, you can find these exact clips in our school community, link in description under the classroom editing section under raw footage. Let's start a new project in Davinci Resolve. Let's call it Mercedes AMG. Then I'm going to start a new timeline. Uncheck this box, format. We're going for a vertical resolution because it's a reel for this one, vertical short form content. And I usually edit in 30 FPS because I'm used to it, and apparently for social media it's very good. So we're gonna create it. There's our timeline, here is our media pool. Then here are my shots from the Mercedes. If you want to see the video on how I shot these, I will drop a link in the description box below. And then I'm just gonna scrub through the clip one by one to see if I'm going to drop it in the media pool. I just hit spacebar and then I can easily scrub through. So this is not a good shot. This is not a good shot neither. We didn't have much space here, so it was a difficult shot, but this one is going to be better. So I start here, so I have it nicely in focus. This is not the one. And here we walk backwards. Yeah, this is the one. This one also we are going to use. I don't think I will be using this one. I'm gonna put it in, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. We will see later. This one looks nice. We might have to reverse the speed in post-production. We drop it in there. Yeah, this one is nice. Let's see if we have a better one. But this will be the one. Then a orbit shot from the wheel. This looks nice. We're gonna track it later to make it super smooth. Then here from the hood. Yeah, we can do something with this one. Or this one might be better. This one is better. We can still choose later. Here we have another one even. Let's also put it in there in the media pool so we can decide later which ones we are going to use for the final edit. So now we have everything here in our media pool. Then we're going to select all of them, but I'm gonna unselect the timeline here. And then I'm going to drop them in our timeline. We can close the media pool here. And I'm going to delete all the audio. We don't need the audio, so we're going to unlink it. Uncheck this icon, and then we can delete it. Now for the audio, what I usually do is I just scroll to social media or Instagram, and when I find a nice song, I just save it into my folder. I have a folder where I save all my nice audios that I will use or that I might use for edits like this one. So I chose one, I just screen record it, and then I transfer it to my computer using AirDrop, and then I simply drag it into the timeline. Here I'm going to remove the clip, and we are going to keep the audio, drag it to the beginning, make it a little bit bigger so we can see where the song exactly starts. There we go. This is the exact start. Okay, perfect. Now we can start the trimming and the cutting. To make my workflow a little bit easier, I use a few keyboard shortcuts to make the editing and the cutting, the rough cut, a little bit faster. So you can go to keyboard customizations right here. I've set 4 custom buttons. The first one is split clip, which I set to number 1. It shows here as this sign because it's an AZERTY keyboard. Then I have the start to playhead in the ripple selection to number 2. And then I have end to playhead to number 3. And then we have the ripple delete to number 4 in the edit timeline. I will show you in just a moment how they work exactly and why they speed up your workflow drastically. So we're gonna select the song now, and we want to make some beat markers where we are going to switch from clip to clip, and then we're gonna press M. Where is the beat? It doesn't have to be perfect. Later in the edit you will see how I make it perfect. Now we're going to start with a rough cut. So what do these shortcuts actually do? Let's start with 1, being the split clip. Wherever your timeline marker is and you hit 1, you will split the clip. It's as easy as this. Now if we use the number 2, start to playhead, it will cut the beginning of your clip away until your timeline playhead, and it will ripple delete it. So this section will be deleted and all the rest will nicely align to this clip right here. So this part will be erased when we hit number 2. There we go. And number 3, which is end to playhead, will do the exact opposite. It will erase the last part of your clip until your timeline playhead. So if you hit 3, this part will be deleted, ripple deleted. There we go. Those are important, and I also have the number 4 to ripple delete. For example, when we have a gap here, for example, and we want to make everything align, we select it, we hit 4, and then it will nicely align to the other clips without having to manually drag hours on end. This is my simple workflow for editing these cinematic reels. Now let's start cutting up the clips so we can match them to the music later. Now what I usually do is I scrub through the footage again and I see which part looks the best, and then I just cut away the bad parts and I'm left with the good part for the edit. So here I want to start with the wing like tilted upwards and then we walk away. So we want to start somewhere here where the motion is smooth and the gimbal started working. So you can see at the beginning we start with a shot, but the gimbal isn't following yet, so we don't want that part of the shot. So here and here it starts actively working, the gimbal. Here from this moment our shot is smooth, so we want to delete this part. So we're gonna hit 2 and that's it. Now we're going towards the end of the clip to see where we can cut it off. Maybe here where this person arrives. Yeah, until this frame is perfect. So we're gonna hit 3. That means this part will be erased and the rest will nicely align. So now we have this clip as a starter clip. I think it's a nice clip to start because it has some curiosity. The wing door looks cool. So I think that's a nice starter shot. We will stabilize it later. Question is, are we gonna cut it on this beat? I think yes, because otherwise the shot will be too long and people will already scroll past. So what I'm gonna do is, this is nice to start. And then here I'm gonna delete this part and we will move over to the next shot. I think this one is a nice shot for a second one, so I might just move these ones over and then I'm gonna select this one. So now I actually want to kind of reveal the car like this. So let's start with a rough cut. We're gonna hit 2 and then that's already too far away. So let's say we can start. We will see, we can always change it. So we're going to delete this part. Now I want to reverse it, so change speed, click this button. Maybe that's a little bit too fast, so I'm going to change it to 50. The minus is for the reverse, so that's better. Then we might have to make it a little bit longer, because remember, here is our second beat. Then we can choose our next shot. I think this one looks cool actually, with the poke right here. So we go from two wider shots to a more close-up shot. So that's gonna be a nice dynamic, like a nice variation. So let's start with the rough cut as usual, see which part is the best. I think this one looks good. So we might want to reverse it. So we're gonna select from here to here. Let's also slow this clip down to 50% and let's reverse the speed. I want to start where we reveal the poke actually. Yeah, this looks good. So we go from, make sure it aligns. Yeah, and there we can cut it again. So if we now select here, it will automatically magnet, or however you want to call it, onto our marker here. So the better your marker is set, the easier it is for matching the clips. That one looks good. The audio matches the transition of clips. Now what I also like to do is when I see that my clip here, for example, moves from left to right, I try to make sure that my next clip, if possible, of course, it doesn't always have to be like that, also moves from left to right. It also gives you a nice overall flow. We have a few shots left. This one can go. We have here the steering wheel. We still have this one, but I'm gonna pass on this one. The orbit shot from the rim. This one looks nice because here we have sort of close up. Here we go to some sort of medium shot, which will work well, I think. So where are we going to start? I think here is a nice starting point. So either you can hit 1 to cut the clip and then 4 to ripple delete, or you can just hit 2 to do the same in just one click. Now let's see how this shot looks. It looks nice. We can easily stabilize this later. We're gonna chop it until here. So we're gonna hit 3. I'm gonna drag it here. Let's see if the speed from this clip matches to this one. Otherwise we have to slow it down. Yeah, we'll have to slow it down. So we set it to 50. And here we are going to end the clip because we have our marker here. And then I'm going to choose one of these shots and then we're going to end with this one. So now we are going to select the best shot from this one. So we have to scrub through them and see which one we think looks best. This one also looks good, but I'm going for this one. So we're gonna see if we might want to slow it down. I think yes. Also, if you slow down your clip by, let's say, 50%, it will be 50% less shaky because it's 50% slower. Let's see where we want to start our clip. I think here is good. The motion, the gimbal is starting to do its work right here. So you might want to slow it down. That one looks good for me. We might want to zoom in a little bit later and kind of kill a little bit of this space right here. Maybe we can do it right now. We go to the inspector, we zoom in a little bit, then I'm gonna drag it upwards. Let's see how this looks. We might want to have a little bit more empty space here. Let's see how the overall clip looks. Looks much better. Maybe we want to do the same here. So we kill a little bit of the dead space there. Just a little bit. This shot looks good for the composition. Here we have some empty space here, some empty space here, and of course here and here. This looks good. This one looks good. This one also. And then let's go to the last one. We're going to kind of hide the steering wheel. So we want to start here. The gimbal starts working right here. We will probably make it slow motion, 50%. Okay, let's just check it out completely right now on the beats, on the music. Okay, that looks good. Now we are going to stabilize all the shots where necessary, and we are going to color grade the clips. Then I will show you my export settings, and then last but not least, I will show you still the topaz settings that I use. Let's start with stabilization. I'm gonna select the first clip, of course. What do we want to do here? I shot this shot with this particular part centered with tracker stabilization in mind. That means that it will track exactly this part and keep this part completely stable and smooth. So to do so, we're going to the Fusion page, Shift Command Space, Tracker, and we're going to select this part on a high contrast piece, for example, where the yellow meets the black, let's say here. Make sure this line is orange. That means it's connected. If it's not connected, hit Shift and then drag it over so it connects. Then we go to adaptive mode, best match. We track it back and forth. There we go to operation, match move, background only, and this should do the magic. There we go. This shot is perfectly tracked. Here I don't think we will use tracker function, or we could actually use tracker function right here. That would be cool. Let's see what it does. So same process, tracker, make sure it's connected. So then I'm gonna set it to, yeah, let's see what it will do when we set it right here. Best match, back and forth. Here you can also follow if there are any big jitters. You might want to pick another point or just try again. But let's see how it performs. Oh yeah, it's working pretty good. Now that you can see also, if you watch carefully, that there are some borders here, gray borders, which will appear as black borders right here. So to get rid of them, you just have to zoom in a little bit. You can reposition if necessary. And then just make sure that the borders are completely gone. And they should be gone. Then we move over to the next one. Let's also do a tracker. Let's do a tracker maybe somewhere. Maybe let's try it here. This tracker point always has to be visible throughout the whole clip. Let's give it a shot. Best match. Back and forth. It might lose its track here at the end, I've noticed. Oh, we have to select background only. That looks pretty good actually. But again, we have the black borders here. We can easily get rid of them. What we can do here is actually create a dynamic zoom. That means that it will just zoom in towards the end of your clip. So to do this, you can just hit dynamic zoom, and to zoom in, you want to swap here this button, and then it will zoom in towards the end. As you can see right here, it's going to zoom in, and you can actually change the zoom, like the strongness of the zoom. If you select it here, dynamic zoom, the green box is your starting position. So you can also just make it a little bit smaller. And then the red box, if you select the red line or the red dot, you can choose wherever your clip will end. So if you make it super small, for example, it's going to be a massive zoom. For example, to exaggerate, you see, and it will end in this frame, but of course that's way too much. We want it subtle. Like this looks good for me. And you see nicely it will draw attention towards the poke even more. It's nicely tracked. Later with some nice color grading it will look better. And then with the zoom in it gives a dynamic effect. Pretty easy to apply. Now for this one we are going to track the wheel. But for this one we are going to use the planar tracker function, which is better for more patterns, let's say wheels, bigger emblems, hoods, lights, headlights, front lights. The tracker function is when you really want to track a specific point, like the logo badge or something very, very specific. Sometimes you can play with both and to see which one looks better. So to start this one, planar tracker, and then we're going to draw a mask or a pattern over the wheel. I usually make it a little bit bigger than the actual wheel. Then we're going to track set motion type to translation. We're going to hit set, and then we go backwards and forward. Then we're going to hit steady, and that should do its magic. That looks good. But again, we go to transform to see how the actual clip looks like, or you can just unclick if you don't want this annoying white frame. We have to get rid of the borders here. I'm not going to use the dynamic zoom this time. I'm just going to reframe the wheel. Question is, do we want it completely centered? I'm going for the lower thirds-ish, I think. Let's also see where it matches the previous clip. So the previous clip point of interest is right here. And the next exact point of interest is also here, a little bit up. And then it's also just nice to watch because your eyes are in this particular point of focus. And the next clip has the exact same focus point right there. I don't always pay exactly attention to it, but the better this is, the better the flow of your whole edit will be. Here we kind of have it, more here, but the overall interest is here. And then we move over to here, 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 sort of here. Doesn't always have to be perfect, of course, but you get the idea. That it's not here, then here, then here, then here. So if it's almost there, it's perfect. So for this clip, I don't need much of stabilization. There's no specific point of interest that I want to track. So then I usually go to stabilization. I set the mode to translation. I slide the slider to around 50-ish, 60. I have 0.50/60. Stabilize, and that's it. Perfect. And then for the last shot, I think we can just use the same technique right here. Or let's try the tracker function. To zoom in, I press Command and then with 2 fingers on my pad. Let's see where we have a good point of interest with some contrast. Maybe right here. Let's see how it performs. We set it to best match, track back and forth. Match move, BG only. Yeah, looks perfect. If you use the Fusion page for tracker or planar tracker, make sure the stabilization is off. Otherwise, they will interfere with each other. They will both stabilize and then, yeah, it won't be stabilized at all. Now, this is what it looks like right now. Now we have to color grade it. We are going to export it and then we're gonna put it through Topaz AI because everybody has been asking that of you guys. So let's do it. Okay, we're gonna start with the first clip, color grade. Then I go to power grade and I will apply my own power grade right here. Of course, it needs some tweaking. You can either recreate the power grade or you can simply download the power grade from the classroom from our school community and you can just drag it here in your power grade and then you drag the power grade up just like this. Of course, we have to change a couple of things. You see right away that it's just too blue. So we're going to white balance and then we're gonna just drag it to the right. You can see that it's of course still too dark and therefore I go to my HDR exposure and I'm gonna just drag it up just like this. If you want to know everything about this power grade, I have a few color grading tutorials on the channel where I go node by node. Here I go over pretty quickly. If you want to see that one, I will drop a link in the description box below. Our S-curve, I'm not gonna touch much there. I might drop the middle point somewhere here. That looks already pretty good for me personally. Although the blacks are very black, so I might want to change that one. I'm just gonna try to go to my exposure node and just slightly lift the lift. Or you can try to go to the HDR wheels and drag up the shadows better. You can always darken the outside even more if you go to your vignette. And I'm gonna reposition the vignette a little bit. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. I'm gonna feather it out or make it even bigger. That looks good. And then for the gradient, for this shot, I don't think we need it. And we can even put it upwards. We want to make it smoother. So it's just a little bit, but it didn't match at the bottom. Now to copy the color grade to the other clips, I just color grade one clip. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I will go to the color page and then I will select this one, hit Command, this one, this one, this one, this one, right click on this one, apply grade, and then it will apply this grade to all the other clips and then you can move from here. So let's say we want to finish this one. For me, this shot is just too bright, so I want to bring down the highlights here in the exposure node. I'm going to even set it to -100. Looks already better. Of course, we had some reflections here from all the lights from the show, but nothing to do. Now that I look at this car, it's very orange, and in real life it was more yellow. So therefore I'm going to the car node right here, Going to the curve step, U versus U. Gonna select the orange, and I want to slightly bring it lower to give it more the color of the actual car, because like this it was just way too orange. I want to widen the selection a little bit. Yeah, that looks much better. This one also looks good, although I see here the highlights very bright, so I'm gonna also lower them a little bit here. That looks already better. Here we can also check the position of our vignette, that it actually draws the attention towards the car. Let's do the same here. It looks good. It looks also good. Here I want the outside a little bit darker, so with my vignette selected, I'm going to the color wheels, or I do it in offset or gamma. Let's drag down the gamma a little bit, feather it out, and that looks much better. Perfect. This looks good for me personally. I might want to change the location of the vignette towards more the car. That's going to be much better. There we go. The gradient a little bit lower. That's good. And here the gradient also a little bit lower. And the vignette should be somewhere here. That looks good. And then last but not least, we're going to add some denoise, because here we see a lot of noise coming through. Here we also see some noise. Here it's okay. And here we see for some reason also a lot of noise. So let's start with this one. Here you can see it clearly. So for the noise reduction, let's do this shot because we have a lot of noise here. When I turn it on, it will be already a little bit better. If you set it to 4 frames, it will track 4 frames before and 4 frames after to see and detect what is noise and what is not. So let's set it, for example, to 4, and I'm gonna link it here. And usually I set it to about 20, and the spatial noise reduction, let's set it to better. And usually I set it also to about 25. This will do the job for me. So we go from noise, a lot of noise, to less noise. And we can even make it better, the details in Topaz Video AI. Here we can do also the denoise function, but just my standard settings will be fine, just a little bit. Here also the standard is good. Same thing. Standard settings. It's fine. Same thing here. And same thing here. If you want to compare two shots to each other, you can go to this one and then selected clips and then hit Command and this one. And then we have the two clips next to each other. So then if we select this one, we see that it's pretty dark actually. So we might want to brighten this one up. So this one is selected. You can see it with the white border. It's much better. I also add a little bit of sharpening here on every single shot. And I just set the radius to 0.47, and this will add a little bit of sharpening to the image to make it, a little bit better, a little bit sharper. That's it for the color grade. Now we can actually export our video file. Let's call it Mercedes AMG. I set it to MP4. I usually export in HD. A lot of people say they do it just in 4K. For me, HD works pretty well, and everybody seems to love the quality. Everybody seems to like how it looks. And then I set my quality to 24,000 kilobytes per second. And then if I go to advanced settings, I force sizing to highest quality and I force the debugger to the highest quality. That's it. We add it to the render queue. and we render it right now. While our video is rendering here, I want to invite you to our private school community for automotive videographers. If you feel stuck, your clips are shaky, your color grades are flat, you edit until late and it looks like shit, I've got great news, I was there before. And that's why we launched this community for automotive videographers. It's a group of like-minded people who are on the same journey than you, or with people who have already done what you want to achieve. So you can learn from everyone because we do live weekly calls, live Q&A, live editing, live color grading. We do weekly challenges so you can practice and level up faster than anybody else. You can try it for free, link in description. Now let's check, and our render is finished. And for my topaz settings, we're gonna drag the clip hubs into our timeline. I don't often use Topaz Video AI, I just use it like 1 out of 10 times. Here it actually looks pretty good, but I'm gonna show you exactly anyway. So for Topaz Video AI, I have my saved preset. You can just copy all the settings right here and hit this button to save your preset for the next time. I just have the enhancement enabled here, Proteus AI model. I have it to 100, 165, 60, 10, 0, 0, 20. And then I've set it to H.264, high profile, 24 megabytes per second, MP4, and then I will just export it. And if we compare here the shots, I don't know if you can see it clearly in YouTube, but here you press this one and then you can compare. So right is with topaz and left is without, and you can see that the difference is huge. The sharpness is just to another level. Here you can see it very clearly. It just adds this sharpening that is just unmatched. Same for the rims. Before, after, before and after. Also here you can see clearly the difference. If you want to see the full video on how I filmed these Mercedes shots, check this video. And if you want to see a full color grading breakdown, check this video.